Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams.
Where we scream so you don't scream.
We're your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this week we try to find some kids in weapons.
Before we get started, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when we post new episodes.
Let's dive in and see just how scary Weapons is on a scale of 1 to 13.
Weapons is a 2025 American mystery horror film directed, written, produced, and co-scored by Cregger. The film follows the seemingly inexplicable case of 17 children from the same classroom who mysteriously run away on the same night at the same time, having been apparently abducted by an unseen force. Rotten Tomatoes gives 94%. Cregger spins an expertly crafted yarn of terrifying mystery and thrilling intrigue in Weapons, a sophomore triumph that solidifies his status as a master of horror. 85% audience says loaded with bold elements that make it not just a great horror film, but a noteworthy film overall. Weapons is ultimately an impressive genre-bending experience that's original, entertaining, and satisfying despite its faint air of ambiguity. For our ratings, we will discuss 4 aspects of the movie and score it from 0 to 3 for each. These individual ratings will be added to make our overall scary rating. To kick us off, Alex, what did you give Plot?
I gave Plot a 3. I said, I will refrain from gushing over this movie as much as possible, and I'll try to make my thoughts as succinct as possible as well, as I think each category in this movie all bleeds together more than most that we cover. That being said, I think Plot is near perfect for me. I was trying to guess what was happening the whole way through, and it just kept getting creepier and creepier. I think the different characters' POVs were woven together perfectly and kept adding new layers to the story. I think each character had an important role to play and really shows how seemingly random people are affected by one major event. They all go through some really traumatic things in the wake of this mysterious tragedy, and I find this movie really scary. How about you?
I also gave it a 3. I said original and compelling just on the premise alone of 17 kids disappearing all at once one night. I felt like there was a nice balance of telling the story from multiple perspectives to piece together the series of events that night and what actually happened, but it still left the audience with a few questions to decide for themselves. Honestly, the perfect balance for me between mystery, drama, and horror.
So we're on the same page, it seems.
Yes, I really liked it.
Okay, interesting. I was kind of worried about how you would see it.
No, I thought it was really unique. I think it could have gone really off the rails and been something we had seen before. Because with the whole, especially the teacher setup, I was really worried that eventually it would just come down to she is so obsessed with finding out what happens that it's going to just make her look more guilty. And that eventually it's just going to be turned on her and all these kids are going to go missing for an unexplained reason. And it's her fault.
Yeah. I know, because we kind of get that a little bit where she is too involved than she should be. Lady, please don't show up to the school.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Don't show up to the kid's house and scout it out, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, granted, she is justified, but yeah, she is overstepping these boundaries. And then you're like, I'm nervous for you. Please stop this. It doesn't also help that you're getting drunk every night as well.
Yeah, it's not great.
I mean, I'm sure half the town is, honestly, with what happened, but still.
Yeah, I don't even know which direction to go with talking about the plot, just because there are so many layers here. But I guess you mentioning that she drinks every night, she is kind of our main character, I would say, even though we all see almost an equal amount of, I think it's 6 characters.
Yeah, I think so.
Would you see her as our main character?
Yeah, I feel like it's mainly, at least she kind of kicks us off. It feels more about her, and I feel like we cut to her point of view again once or twice.
I was just curious your thoughts on how the characters are written, because they're not perfect by any means. So how do you feel about how Cregger deals with the characterization?
I like them. I think they're all unique characters and they all have their own problems that are kind of impacting the event in a way. Like with the cop, Paul, he's not to blame, but this whole situation with the teacher is compelling this kind of prolonged investigation. And I'm not saying their involvement with each other is making it weird or extending the search, but it is these tying in factors because he's cheating on his wife with Justine, the teacher, and not saying that what he's doing, I guess, is really distracting him from the investigation, but isn't it in a way? Like,
a little bit, because also his wife's father is the chief.
yeah.
So that's not great for him.
And I'm sure there's other people involved in the investigation that we just don't see, but still, this is what we see from the police standpoint. So it's that, and we see like some parents are more involved than others, especially like Archer. Like he goes around trying to get video footage of all of the kids when they disappear from the Ring doorbells. And one lady says she doesn't even feel comfortable showing the footage. I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Why is that personal to you?
That is kind of bizarre. Don't you want to find your child potentially?
Yeah, I would listen to anybody, honestly. I'd be like, psychics, whoever, like,
where'd they go? Help me.
come talk to me. I'm sure you can figure it out, because you never know too. It can be like the most mundane detail can solve a crime like this.
Did you watch any like video essays after watching this movie at all, or deep dives into the themes and stuff by chance?
I didn't, not diving into the themes, but I did listen to an interview from last podcast on the left with the director.
Oh, okay.
And I really enjoyed it. He did not answer a lot of the questions that I was wondering. Like they did ask him, but he kind of just like left it up to us.
Oh, really? Like which ones?
A big one that they asked was like, surely Gladys, the main antagonist, is related to the family or isn't even related to the family. And he's like, I don't know. That's up to you.
I feel like we'll get there with the villain.
For the villain stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I got some
But
thoughts.
that was one of the main questions that I was like, I really wanted to know if they were connected in that way. And I found it very interesting. I talked to our friend Matt about it a little bit. He said that he heard and agrees that it's an analogy for school shootings. Like what could take out a class of 17 kids like all at once like that.
So it can be. It was confirmed that was not his intention. So I mean, obviously there's the gun floating in the air.
Yes.
So like 100% see that, but that wasn't actually the intent at all.
Oh, really? Okay. So, I mean, I could see it, but there was also another point he made, but I'll let you continue whatever.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, from what I learned was each of the characters were, let me back up. Zach Cregger was part of Whitest Kids You Know, the comedy group, and his one friend died a few years ago, I want to say. And he wrote this movie kind of as a cathartic way to deal with that. And each of the characters actually represents a different stage of him dealing with it.
Oh, really?
So that's really like kind of where this movie stemmed from. So I just didn't know if you read that at all or knew anything about that.
I hadn't heard any of that, but I think he did briefly mention him in the interview. I believe that last podcast on the left and Zach Cregger had known each other previous to the film, and that's why it was kind of like more casual maybe, and that's why I didn't get that. But he did point out that he wanted it a little bit to be symbolic of dealing with parents with alcoholism.
But like the Gladys and Alex chapter to me is just about living with an alcoholic parent. I grew up in an alcoholic household. My dad died of cirrhosis, and it's a terrible thing that comes into a family dynamic and it changes everything. And so, I had a happy house, and then something came into my house and it turned my dad into a scary person, and I'd go to school and everything's cool, and I'd go home and I'd have a scary house with a scary dad.
For sure. There's like so many themes
layers
that you can pull out of it, because not to say the school shooting theme was kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's literally, like I said, that gun floating in the dream, which was kind of weird. But there's just so many other ways. They never really
kind of like call back to it, and it feels more or less just like him trying to figure it out, I guess. Maybe it's like an analogy for him, but I can also see in an instance how this sort of situation would weaponize people against each other in this really terrible traumatic event. So,
right.
Yeah, like especially the parents versus the teacher. So
yeah. Did you hear about what the original ending for this movie was supposed to be?
No, I don't think so.
So the original ending was supposed to be Alex and Miss Gandy, Justine, get a hold of the plant and they make their own little army to go against Gladys's army.
Okay. I did hear about this part.
I was like, I am so glad they did not do that.
That would have been so silly. Like,
I mean, the
it's
ending's
so
already kind of
weird.
silly. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I think it's like just suitable enough. It balances. So
Oh, yeah. I loved it. I love the ending, but it is. My theater was laughing out loud. I don't know how your
for sure.
theater was like with the ending.
Yes, they were. They were laughing, and there was a few kids that were the age of the children in the movie that were just flying around with the arms up the whole time. I'm like, I love that. Now that we're in like a dark scene, and then I see a child with their arms out like that.
Oh,
Love
no.
that for me.
Lovely. How do you feel about some of our more random characters like James, who seemingly comes out of nowhere?
Yeah, I felt like he was kind of to lighten the mood a little bit, but then also he's had even more issues going on with the cop, Paul, because of the dirty needles thing.
Mhm.
Like, he's so messed up and strung out that, like, Paul's giving him a pat down and he's like, you're not going to poke me with anything if I put my hands in your pockets. And he says, oh, no, whatever. And of course, he's got like a dirty needle in there. And then at one point, he's so upset with him, he punches him in the face, and then he realizes it's all on camera, so he just lets him go and says, like, don't come around here again. And then, of course, he sees him again, pursues him again, and Paul is freaking out in the woods being chased and sees Gladys and is like, oh, fuck no. Goes and don't know who the fuck that is, but that's also a problem. And goes and hides in a tent and just grabs a bunch of the dirty needles and thinks that he'll stab her when she comes through the tent and stabs him in the face.
I knew that was going to happen in that scene too. I'm like, as soon as he grabbed his needles, I'm like, well, Paul's getting in the face.
Yeah, right. Charlie did have a question too of, like, since he ended up sleeping with Justine after the first incident, like, do you think he got HIV and spread it to Justine? Or some sort of thing?
I would think he got himself checked out. I would hope.
I feel like there's like a long waiting period when that kind of stuff happens. I think
is there?
I think so. At least from like what I know from Law and Order. I'm not like actually researching, but I thought it was like a little longer of a process because I think you have to check like after 6 months, after a while, to see if you're getting symptoms or if the.
Well, did he sleep with her before or after he got stabbed?
After he got stabbed in the finger, yeah, at least.
He got stabbed. Oh,
because then he meets her up at the bar because he's
like,
feeling he's feeling bad about himself. He doesn't want to drink because he's also suffering from alcoholism, but he's in recovery. Yeah, and then he meets her, and then he backslides.
I don't know. I guess it depends on if they use protection and all that stuff. I mean, maybe I don't.
It really doesn't matter, I guess, because of what all happened.
Yeah, more to worry about right now.
Charlie's just very concerned for her.
I mean,
I was like, I don't know. There's a lot of kids here.
Yeah, I don't know. There are some kids missing, maybe to deal with.
Yeah, maybe we'll worry about Justine a little bit later. What did you have for this suspense?
I gave Suspense a 2. I said, I think there are really good suspenseful scenes throughout the movie. From Archer's dream to Justine's scouting of Alex's house, each little character vignette has at least one suspenseful moment. It was balanced out nicely with moments in between that were slower, where we just got to see our characters interact in less dangerous moments. Justine's moments in the bar with Paul, or Marcus's shopping experience with his husband. I gave the movie a score of 2 because it has its moments, but it's not a nail-biter the whole way through.
Really? Okay.
What about you?
I also gave it a 2. I said this was way more freaky than I expected, especially since we're not initially introduced to Gladys. So when she's suddenly on the ceiling of the teacher's bedroom, it's like, what the fuck is that? Like,
yeah.
Plus, the stillness of those under her trance is deeply unsettling, and it really gets your blood pumping when she sets them loose on people. Sometimes even the more mild scenes, like the cop with the guy and his dirty needles, had me on edge. So they were always doing the most in the best way. However, I didn't give it it the full through because some of the scenes didn't break down to being too scary overall, and it started to read silly, like when Justine and Archer are fighting off the cop Paul and James at the end, because James keeps popping back up, probably just because he's high or whatever. He's just, he can keep going.
Yeah. Well, he's not dead yet, so he's going to keep going till he's...
Yeah, till he dead.
Mm-hmm.
And when the kids ultimately chased Gladys down, that moment was hysterical, and I was totally rooting for them.
Yeah, there's definitely comedy throughout this movie, too, which we didn't really talk about in the plot. But there are definitely laugh-out-loud scenes. I had this guy next to me. He was having a hoot. He kept laughing throughout the movie.
Even some of it was like really subtle, like when Gladys comes to the school on behalf of Alex, because Justine has reached out to the principal, Marcus, about being concerned about Alex's home life. And even though she is like overstepping her boundaries again, he's like, all right, I'll do a wellness check with the parents. And Gladys comes in instead. And he's like, I don't think I met you. And she's like, oh no, I don't know. And he's like, no, I would know. Like her face, it's clearly commenting on her face and her appearance.
She's very outlandish, I would say. Is probably a good word for it.
Yes, for sure.
Visually striking woman.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And the microbangs.
I want to get that haircut. Next time you guys see me filming, I'm going to have that haircut. Color and all.
Oh, man.
You're going to know.
Yeah, you'll know.
Yeah, I just think it did a good job of having its high suspenseful moments and then just some like quieter character moments where we're just, to your point, like laughing with our characters or just getting to know them. I mean, even James's vignette is just funny all the way through because he's so ridiculous.
Yes.
In the best way. I actually really liked his character.
Him breaking into cars while he's calling, I don't know, his brother or somebody asking for money.
Mm-hmm. He's like, no, seriously, I'll get you the money this time.
Yeah.
Believe me, I just need some clothes for the job.
I just need fancy clothes.
But that's realistic too.
Oh, yeah,
like
for
that
sure.
whole moment. It's like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. I feel sorry for him, but also like he needs to want to get help. But it doesn't matter in the end for James.
James. If they just listened to this man, they would have found these kids so soon.
Right? Well, he sounded so crazy. So
I know.
And almost the whole situation with Paul needed to even happen for him to consider him, and going to check out the house.
Yeah, that's true.
Because without like that prior knowledge of him and everything, and then like they both, when they first see each other, and then the whole incident with him hitting him, he says we both wronged each other, so we're gonna like forget about this kind of thing. And then when he sees him again, he's like, wait, listen to me, I saw kids.
Right. And I mean, good on Paul, he does
believe
check it
him
out,
yeah,
but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Don't matter for both of them. What did you think about that too? Like with them killing off like the majority of the POVs that we ended up getting, like with Marcus, then Paul and James. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones.
No, I think that's it.
Archer is fine, and Alex
Archer's
is fine, and
yeah.
Justine. So it's like 3 and 3, I think.
Yeah, I was fine with it. Okay. I was unfortunate. I wish they all survived. I liked them all.
Yeah,
it's tragic that they all bit it, but I would also be disappointed if they all made it out unscathed. At the same token. Okay. What about you?
I don't know. I just thought it was different. With sharing their perspective, it made them more important in a way. But then, I don't know. Like, I think maybe Marcus's was like the only one I was like, well, this feels short enough. It didn't matter in a way.
Yeah,
like Marcus... not saying him and his husband seemed really sweet and everything, but I felt bad for when Gladys made him kill his husband.
Yeah,
that was upsetting. But otherwise, like their time together and his point of view wasn't very long. It seemed.
Yeah, that was. Now that you bring that up, I completely glossed over that in my head. That was really traumatic and sad. I'm like, he didn't deserve any of this,
right?
Oh man.
And then just him like smashing him in with his own head, and like you can hear the background while like Gladys is just like washing her hands, like, yeah, this will be over soon. Like it's already done too. Like he's dead already at this point.
And then Marcus, his eyeballs are popping out because of the trauma from his head.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh God, it's just that is so disturbing.
Yes, for sure. Because,
No
like,
good.
when you see that commercial, when I saw the one advertisement with him coming at her at the gas station, I was like, what happened here? Like,
Very bad
what would
things.
make your eyes do that? And I was like, now I know.
I will say, side tangent, the trailer for this movie was done really well, I feel. It
Excellent.
didn't give
Yeah.
away, I will say, and I'll talk about this a little bit more with Villain, it did for like 0.5 of a second show Gladys, and I really wish they didn't, because I was like, that lady, something's wrong with her.
That's her.
That's
Yeah.
her. Seriously. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
unfortunately, like as soon as the movie came out, like people started making their own posters and they included like Gladys's head over the children. And I was like, I know it's got something to do with this bitch.
I know. That's why I saw this movie the week it came out, the weekend. And yeah, by the time I saw it, I did see a few images of Gladys, and it didn't ruin it or anything for me, I don't think, because I had a feeling as soon as I saw her, I'm like, she is so bizarre.
Yeah, compared to everyone else.
Like, she's definitely, something's going on here.
Yeah. Those jump scares again with her. There's one too where like Paul checks out the basement and he sees all the kids and he's like kind of moving them apart, trying to, see who's all there. And she's just like crouched, like, and that's when she gets him. And then Archer, when he's having this whole dream and he sees the gun floating over his house, he goes into his child's room and he's trying to tell him, like, obviously in the dream, like, why'd you leave and all that stuff, and he flips him over and it's Gladys. I'm like, how would you know what Gladys looks like in this case, though? Like, subconsciously.
More Gladys lore that I want to talk about.
Ooh, okay. I won't pry then.
No, it's fine.
What did you have for atmosphere?
Atmosphere, I gave a 2. I said the movie has a great variety of locations that all lend itself to the story. Creepy dream classrooms, Alex's house in disarray, and the woods, to name a few, they all enhanced the movie. There was an overwhelming sense of tragedy and loss that permeated not only through our characters, but the town itself. This also plays a factor in my villain score, but I'll get there when I get there. What about you?
Okay. I gave it a 2. I know we don't typically give a lot of points for the town or regular houses in these things, but I had to give it credit for how deeply intertwined the story is with this neighborhood, especially from the teacher's perspective, Justine. I literally feared every time she left the house, one, because she was struggling with alcoholism, so she was a danger to herself and others, and essentially all the parents and even a few others hated her for what happened. So I felt like she was always on the verge of being attacked by somebody. Like, even the moment where she's just in her house and someone's banging on her door repeatedly, I'm like, hate that. I don't like moments where you're like feeling scared home alone, that kind of sense. So it hits a little too close to home for me. So
yeah, your home's supposed to be like your safe space,
Right.
And when someone's intruding on that,
yeah,
that's the worst.
It is. Plus, she just couldn't mind her business with the whole Alex thing, with good reason, but she was definitely taking risks and overstepping those boundaries in general. So I feel like the people are more or less the atmosphere in this, but yeah, like the woods and the houses and the stores and stuff like that, like, add to it, obviously, because it gives them a place to be, but they're also like interconnected. Like, even when Archer like maps out like where all the kids were running to and stuff.
Right. Yeah, and that's when I kicked off my plot. Like, this one was hard for me to like piece apart the individual elements because everything, purposefully so, is so interconnected.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just a town, but it's more than that, because you get a sense of how the town is dealing with this tragedy. So the town itself almost feels like a character.
Right.
At least that's how I view it.
Right. And then it starts to feel like towards the end, when Gladys is starting to take in more people besides the children, it feels very Invasion of the Body Snatchers-ish. Like, it's becoming very other. So it like evolves. Like, she's like a cancer to this town, just fully impacting the whole body of the town.
Yeah. Again, I want to talk about villains so bad.
I know. We'll have lots to say about her.
It's going to be another half an hour just about Gladys. But in the movie, I'm sure you noticed the several mentions of parasites and cordyceps and that whole theme. So the town becomes part of the equation too. So,
yeah.
And we always usually use atmosphere more as setting, to be honest. But this one, I feel, did have the atmosphere about it.
Right.
going through it.
Yeah, I agree. What did you have for villain? I know
Mom,
you're excited.
I am so excited. I gave villain a 3. I said Aunt Gladys is an instant icon. I know I throw that word around a lot jokingly, but I already have seen so many people dressed up as her online. So this time I actually mean it when I say icon.
Yes.
How can you not give her a full 3? She's visually striking in a creepy yet intriguing way. She's the mastermind behind everything that happens, obviously, and it has a hold on everyone. She infiltrates Alex's home, controls the citizens, and even gets into their dreams. There's even reasons to suspect that the reason the cops don't seem to make any progress or seem to care all that much is because she's able to manipulate them. I find her similar to Pennywise in that aspect, in the sense that she is deeply ingrained herself in the town, and she is here to ruin everyone's life. The plot, suspense, and atmosphere stems from her, even if she is not actively present in any given scene.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What about you?
I also gave it a 3. I said our girl is given every step of the way. Literally the most unexpected, kooky old lady that in another life would have 20 cats and give out the big chocolate bars on Halloween. Like she'd just be like this weird lady that would be like terrible to approach, but it would be so worth it kind of thing.
For sure.
Her jump scares are terrifying and her magic deadly. Like, legitimately, I thought, poor Alex, that's a lot of soup, and she keeps collecting people without a care in the world. I think the most fascinating thing about her is trying to figure her out, and I have tons of questions about her origins, but love that they left it up to us to interpret. They don't really go into a whole, like, did Gladys cross the narrow sea to get here or anything? Like, they were just like, she just shows up. She is a sick aunt. We don't even really know if they're actually related. In fact, the whole family, at one point or another, Gladys tells Alex that she met him as a baby, but we hear the parents talking. They're like, we saw her maybe 15 years ago, and the dad's like, I don't even remember if I met her. So it's like, is she or is she not really family?
To answer what your question was earlier when we were talking, I don't think she's related at all. She came out of nowhere, picked a family, and inserted herself into their lives.
Yeah.
Also, I guess, what are your thoughts on how old she is? Like,
I feel like old, like ancient.
Okay.
Because she has so many people under her spell, and it's supposed to make her better because she is very decrepit when she first comes. Like, she is wearing a wig and stuff like that. But obviously, I think she needs almost world domination to make herself like Sanderson's sister pretty.
I know.
We're young. Well, younger. But it's a start.
She's trying, but no.
Yeah, I'd be curious, because the reason I ask is a lot that has come up in conversation, obviously. Like, is she hundreds of years old? Is she only like 70, 80? But she uses the term consumption, which is a really old term, I think, for tuberculosis.
Right. I was trying to even think like consumption, like I'd have to Google that later kind of thing.
I thought, I didn't know that until I watched so many freaking videos on this movie, but I learned that. So I think that was a little nod to her being really old.
Yeah, I think so too. I heard from the director that he made up some of the spells and stuff like that, but he tried to incorporate like a little bit of witchcraft too. But with like the sticks and the hair, it feels very like old magic kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I got the sense of. I don't think she was like 80 or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting that anyone could kind of just use this tree, because we see Alex use it against her, obviously, at the end. She's like, uh-oh. But it's just interesting that you could just take a branch from this tree and do what she did without...
Yeah.
She's not magic herself, I guess. But
you think that, though? I thought maybe she was, and then that's maybe why Alex was able to do that, because if they are related...
I think, well, at least the tree, I think, obviously,
is part of it.
Also, yeah, because if we're thinking about the original ending, if Miss Gandy was using the tree too, anyone could just take a branch.
I guess that's true.
Snap it and control your people.
All right.
I mean, this doesn't mean that she herself doesn't also have specific powers, but this tree is important to her magic, obviously.
I wanted to ask you, too, your opinions on, like, Do you acknowledge like how messy and also how well thought out it is at the same time? Like the balance that she has with Alex, keeping these people alive barely, and like no one's suspicious of Alex buying soup every day.
Oh, okay.
And for anyone that hasn't seen it and has chosen to forego watching the movie and wanted to watch this, just spoilers, these people that she has under control basically are zombified until she tells them to do something. So they are living, but they are not caring for themselves. So she has Alex feed them soup. And at first it's just his parents, but then he takes on his whole class as well in the basement, which is crazy. That's a lot of soup.
There's a lot of soup, yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like on some ways it's messy to like rely on a child to take care of them without him getting caught and all that stuff as well, or people asking about him. Which, I mean, eventually it's kind of unraveling, but not as quickly as you'd like.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, her plan, there's so much room for error in this plan. Like when they are investigated initially, she has to control the children out of the basement. So they like
she
flee
sends
off
them into the woods.
Oh, like they could have been found then.
Yeah.
And then with Alex, I mean, he's a kid. Now, granted, I will say he's probably so freaking scared that he's going to listen. But also, that's why I think there's some suspension of disbelief here. But also, that's why I think like she does have some kind of control over the town because she's popping up in people's dreams. She's popping up in the woods. I don't think she was actually there.
Yeah.
The cops seem so like blasé about the whole situation.
Right.
That's why I think there's some more to it. Again, with the whole theme of parasites and cordyceps taking over.
Okay.
So yeah, the plan is so silly because like also yeah, of course you're gonna take all the kids from one classroom. Like, of course, there's going to be a huge,
deal
investigation and thing. Like, she could have had Alex pick a couple kids from different classrooms or something like that.
Right.
So she's like, no, give me all the kids from your one class. Like, what?
No one's going to be weirded out by that at all. Like,
yeah. Do you want to hear what my theory was while I was watching the movie?
Sure.
I was convinced this is what was going on. So this is when we get to Alex's point of view, which is the last point of view we see. So Archer's kid, Matt, I think his name was, you see him like off the bat bullying Alex. And I thought Gladys was actually somewhat of a sympathetic character. And I thought that she took all these kids because they were bullying Alex. And that was just her way of dealing with it, like for revenge.
That would have been so crazy.
And then no.
Then not that.
I was like, oh, I know. Like Alex confided in her that he was being bullied, and she's like, I'll teach these kids. No, it was so much worse.
I just wish he could have told somebody, but I don't feel like he could have. I feel like since she was popping up in dreams and stuff like that, she would have even found out in a way. And then plus he does have that whole threat of his parents hurting themselves or each other, like lingering over his head because she intimidates him by having them like stab themselves with a fork to the face. And then she's like, I can have them eat each other if I want. So you're going to do what I say.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful. It's so bad. I thought
he's so little too. He's got like this little innocent cherub face, and now he's got to take like all of his class, and he doesn't even know when she asks him to bring stuff from the class that's what's going to happen either.
Yeah, he has no idea. He's just at her mercy, honestly.
Yeah, and he's like, anything to make you better, so you'll go, right?
She ain't going nowhere.
Nah.
At least 9 times soon. Terrible. But yeah, very interesting because when you see her, she's outlandish and silly, kind of. And then when you see her talking to Alex, she's like straight up evil. She is
vicious.
Awful.
Yeah.
She's just a very intriguing character, and I could talk about her forever, but definitely a 3. She's scary as shit. And I like anything witchy related. So I was like, I'm so happy it went there.
Yeah. And I think it has like a nice like call to like the Pied Piper, and then the elements of witchcraft. I feel like that's relatively unique for horror movies nowadays. So I like the nice combination. I just wasn't expecting it to go that far, and it sure did. Did you give this movie your extra special point?
Oh, I sure did. I love this movie. I found it extremely unsettling. I guess Zach Cregger is a new favorite of mine. I love Barbarian. I love the twist that, if you've seen Barbarian, you know. I love how this movie panned out, so I enjoyed it. I honestly wanted to see it again almost immediately, and I do find it very scary. What about you?
I also did. I said I had to give it my special point. Just that setup alone is enough to spark interest, and it just keeps getting better from there. You know, like this is like so supposed to be set up so true crime-ish that, or like, you know, crime, mystery, drama, and then like the scary aspects just jump right in at you all of a sudden, and then you're like, oh, this is full-on horror. I'm scared. Like, where is this going? Why is she in that kid's bed? Why is she on the ceiling? Who the fuck is this in the woods? Like,
I mean, there's a lot of questions, but they get answered. So
yeah, you find out, but still, like it really builds. It really helps with all of the point of views, with different aspects of what's going on, and there's like one or two scenes where they like overlap a little bit, especially with Paul and James. There's like that little overlap of them too, and I like seeing that scene from different angles to see what was really going on.
Yeah. The one thing I really liked to that effect, when you see Justine's point of view, you do see Archer, but you only see his back. And then when it's Archer's point of view, it's the reverse, where you see Justine's back and you see him. So whenever it was their point of view and there were like characters that were crossing over, they tried to show it from the different perspective, literally.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, me too. I liked it. I would see it again.
Yeah, I think I definitely just bought into the hype a little bit. I will say I was just so excited for this movie that maybe I willed it to like it as much as I did, but I did enjoy it.
No, I think it paid off is all. Like it was as good as it was supposed to be, kind of thing.
So adding up our totals, we both gave it 11.
Sounds good.
It's up there. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, and of course you could leave a comment and let us know what movie you'd like us to cover next.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.